I always thank you. All right, so this sense of the kleshas, where one of the root causes of our suffering is what we're holding on to and grasping. So, there's a Rumi quote. I meant to look it up and I forgot, but it's basically, that it's something about a closed fist, that a closed fist is never something that can be opened and extended to another person. So that when we grasp, we really tighten ourselves and insulate ourselves. But when we let the sand move through our fingers, there's movement and freedom. So, what are you holding on to that you wish that you could kind of release? What is the grasping? How is grasping causing suffering in your life? Is it the kind of holding on to physical things, or is it, holding on to a storyline in your head or an opinion about something? So as you sit up straight and tall and close your eyes, maybe it's wishing something in your life was a certain way and it's not that way. So whatever it is, let's close our eyes for a moment and just drop into the awareness of it. How is grasping creating suffering or harm for you in some small or big way? And let's just take our fists for a moment and give them a good squeeze and feel how tight that can feel. And then release your palms and let them fall, your hands fall down onto your knees or wherever is comfortable, and let your hands be open. And maybe try that a couple times where you squeeze a fist and then open your hands and squeeze and open. And just come to the ease of the open hands for a moment where you just get to relax and imagine water or sand kind of sifting through, falling through your open fingers. Just take a moment to notice a sense of freedom that comes from space. That even just the center of your palms probably feel a little more free. And then let's move this awareness into our breath. So find your breath. And even that can be something that we grasp and hold very unconsciously for many of us, where we can have this binding and grasping around our breath. Let's take a moment to loosen whatever needs loosening, to free whatever needs freeing, so that the breath comes in easy and steady. And recognize that the breath is a tool and a metaphor, where when you find yourself grasping in your mind, sometimes we can just pause, notice it, and let a beautiful breath arrive and go, changing us physically, but also being symbolic of this ability to take something in, to experience it, and then to let it go. Feel the openness of your spine. May you bring your hands together at your heart. Bow your head a moment. Let that settle, your hands settle, your mind settle. Find a full breath here for an intention, and see if even your intentions can get graspy sometimes. Are your intentions around I want? See if you can set an intention that has some fluidity to it. Release your hands. And let's go ahead and find our way onto our back. All right, so as we stretch out and lengthen, enjoy the spaciousness in your body, this beautiful arrival at our practice and arrival into ourselves. That's such a gift to have this time and space to be present with self. So let's experience a little gratitude for our practice. And then when you're ready, you can stretch your arms overhead and feel that length in your body. Stretch your arms overhead and feel your side bodies open up. And even something as simple as opening up joint spaces and bringing up some fascia and some muscle fibers can be a little bit of the glimpse of this non-grasping, that we can find freedom in our bodies. All right, and then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. Just hang on to the knees and circle, kind of rolling in one direction, rolling in the other direction. And then let's open up the knees away from the middle and bring them back in toward the middle, so that we have this beautiful freedom that's starting to come into our hip joints. Right knee in, left leg long on the ground. Let's bring that freedom into our ankles, into our feet. Give them a good roll. Maybe some flexing points and wiggles. Notice your head and let it get very heavy. Let your shoulders relax. Good squeeze into the knee and then a release. Let's change sides. Left knee in. Move out in your ankles and toes. Feeling that sense of freedom and movement. Heavy head. Good squeeze of the knee in. And then stretch your limbs wide on the ground. Open your body out, feeling the wiggles of your fingers and your toes, rolling your ankles and your wrists, maybe an open and close of your fists. And then draw your knees into your chest. Pick up your head and come into a round little ball. And then twice more, let's move with breath. Opening big on the in-breath to an expansive star. And then on an out breath, changing your shape and drawing into a snug ball. One more time, feeling that open, big posture. Exhale, knees draw into your chest. And put your feet on the ground. And let's find some windshield wipers with our knees. Just going back and forth, letting your chest come open. Maybe turning your head in opposition of your knees. Feeling that sense of twists, kind of inviting some fluidity in the spine. And we're going to roll all the way to our right side. You can always put something under your head if you need it. Stack your knees and ankles, right angles. Inhale, open up like opening up a book. Bring your hand back behind you, touch the ground. On your exhale, come back, palms together. Twice more, opening up into this twist, letting your chest find space. And then exhale and bringing your hands together. One more time. Full breaths here. We're just letting fluidity and mobility arrive in our bodies and hopefully in our minds as well. Then we'll roll over to the other side. Bring our hands together, knees together. Inhale, open up our chest, turn your head. And exhale. And release the hands back together. Twice more, moving with the breath as you open up big and wide, inhale, and as you bring your hands back together, exhale. Let your neck turn, let your head turn, feel that freedom across your shoulder and chest. And then back onto your back and spread your limbs wide open. Exhale, knees into your chest, a little snug ball, and then rolling over to your side and coming up onto your hands and your knees. So as you find a cat-cow, take your time. As you feel your hands and feet on the ground, feel that sense of grounding, where you have that capacity to yield and feel where you're touching the ground. so that your spine in its freedom has some roots in your arms and your legs. Enjoy. Let your head move as well. Let your breath get full and deep. Let your breath get empty. And then after a couple rounds, just let your spine move however it wants to move. You can do some rolling around or some wagging or some head turning, whatever feels good in your body. Let's come down into child's pose and take the hands, walk them far out in front of you. Inch forward, drop some weight into your sit bones. Let your forehead relax into the ground. Breathing deeply. And let's walk our hands over to one side of the mat or the other so we can open up through our ribs and feel that breath travel open and big. Find your way over to the other side and feel that rib cage spread. Feel your lats open up, maybe even in your shoulder, things can get a little bit more free. And coming back to center, come up onto your hands and your knees again. Curl your toes under, stretch back like child's pose. Walk the hands forward, open up the bottom of your feet a little bit. And then we're going to slide forward with our hands. So our hips are going to stay over our knees, and we're going to walk the hands forward and come into a puppy pose. So the chest is going to come down toward the ground, head toward the ground. Keep the hips high. And then come back to all fours, hands under your shoulders, and move the spine around however you want to. Let's open up a twist again. So reach the left arm up to the sky. Exhale, slide that arm underneath and find a twist here. Breathe deeply. And then when you're ready to come out of that posture, go ahead and reach that arm all the way back up in the air. Hand comes down onto the ground. Let's change sides. Arm lifting high. Exhale, slide that arm underneath. Gaze toward the ground so you feel that openness across your ribs. Breathe deeply. Reach that arm back up in the air. Bring it high. Hand comes down onto the ground, and we get to come off the ground now. So dog pose. Pedal your feet. Take your time. Drop one heel, drop the other heel, let your knees bend. We're slowly creating a little mobility in our ankles and our feet and our knees. Breathing well. Feel the grounding of your hands. And when you're ready to be a little bit more still, enjoy the groundedness of this pose. Feel the yielding of your hands and your feet. Melt your head. As you yield, also rise. When you're ready, come forward. Bring your feet forward. Come into a forward fold again. If you want to shimmy or sway or bounce, or anything that feels good. Inhale for a halfway lift. We're growing longer in the spine. And exhale and melt and fold again. Come all the way up to stand. Reaching the arms upward, feeling that extension. Let's cactus open the heart, spread your wings. And then exhale and round and forearms come to touch. Let's do that twice more. Inhale, arms up, and then spread your elbows wide, squeeze your shoulder blades. And then exhale, round your spine just a bit, chin to chest, forearms touch. One more time, lifting the arms up, maybe a leaning back, cactus, open the arms, feel that spreading of the shoulders, palms together. And then release the arms down and give your hands a good shaking out. Let the shake go all the way into your arms. That open and closing fists. Now we're just letting it all get free. All right, let's reach behind you. Grab onto the right wrist with the left hand. So you have this extension upward through the shoulder. Drop the shoulder, but try to keep the shoulders even so we're not pulling it way down. Lift your ear up toward the sky. And then maybe your chin wants to do a little bit of nodding while you're here. Opening up across the front of that shoulder, top of the shoulder. And then relax. Grab onto the other wrist. Feel the lift of that ear up toward the sky. Finding your breath. Open up. Maybe you want to draw your chin down and lift it up like you're nodding your head a little bit. These can be subtle movements. And then coming back to center. Okay, let's bring our arms straight up in the air. Feel that extension, and we're going to come up onto our toes and down onto our heels. Up onto our toes, down onto our heels. Just getting a little bit of blood pumping through our calves, opening up the feet a little bit more. Finding breath, integrate the ribs. And then keep moving your feet. We're going to bring our arms straight out to the sides. Press your palms toward the walls. Next to you, fingertips up toward the sky. Spread your palms. And release your feet down. Release your hands and give them another good shake. Okay, let's do eagle arms. Right arm over left arm. Drop your shoulders. Open up your breath. Lift your elbows a little bit and draw your elbows away from each other. And of course, you can hold the opposite shoulders if this arm position is too much for you. And just feel that stretch across the tops of the shoulders, breathing well. And then release, unwind, big open star, and let's change sides. Left elbow on top. If you can't hook the arms, just do your best or bring your hands to your opposite elbows. Shoulders down, collarbones wide. Lift the elbows up. Find your breath. Let it travel across the tops of your shoulders. And then let's release that. Reach the arms up one more time. Open and close your fists while they're up there in the air. And then let's exhale and fold forward. Relax your head. Let your spine waterfall. Open spine. Palms stay free. Maybe you have some blocks. Inhale for a halfway lift. Feeling the reach of your spine. Let's hold on to the blocks if you have them and pedal your feet here. So lift one heel, bend the knee. The other leg, the hip moves way back, just opening up across the hips. And then let's feel into the feet. So 2 feet on the ground, but wiggle them a little bit so you can really open up the bones of your feet and feel the four corners root into the earth. Lift the femur bones up into your hips as you root the feet down. And exhale and fold. Let's come back to a lunge, right foot in front, left foot behind. Feel that calf open up in the back leg, open your chest. Feel the hip flexors start to open. We haven't kind of touched into the hip flexors much yet. All right, so let's bend and straighten the front knee, getting the hamstrings to free up, the hip flexors to free up. So just enjoy the fluidity of your breath and movements of your body. Sometimes we hold poses a long time, and that's a very helpful way of diving into presence. And sometimes we move fluidly, and this is yet another way of diving into presence. Try to let your breath learn something from the movement of your body, that you cannot have to hold anything, that we don't have to grasp or hold a posture. We can stay fluid and moving. And then find your lunge, ground your feet. Inhale, rising up, bringing the arms up to the sky. If you're comfortable with that, crescent lunge. And we'll have some movement here. Two things we're gonna do. Take a deep breath in, cactus, open the arms, lean forward, press the arms away. One more time, up you go, crescent lunge, a big open heart, and then press forward, find your breath, rising up again. This time we'll twist to open to the right. Drop your hands down, inhale, back up, exhale, twisting to the right. Coming back up, bring the hands down to the ground, back foot comes forward, fold into Uttanasana. A halfway lift on your in-breath, feel that extension of legs and spine and feet. Exhale, and melt to fold. Step your other foot back, left is in front now. Feel that lunge, open up the hip flexors of your right leg. And start to move with breath. Link up your breath and your movement. See if you can kind of let the body and breath move as one. Try to think less about where am I supposed to inhale and where am I supposed to exhale. And instead just let your body breathe and move however it wants to. Ready, come to a lunge. Ground your legs. Inhale, rising up, crescent lunge. Bringing the arms high, feeling that open body. And let's find the movement. Open chest, spread your wings, hug your shoulder blades if it feels nice. Press forward, ground into your legs. Inhale, rising up, cactus again. Exhale, pressing forward. Feel your front foot rooting down. Lift on up. Let's twist open to the left. Inhale, arms coming back. Big breath in. Twist to the left. Bring your hands down onto the ground. Dog pose. Feel that extension. Root the four corners of your body, hands and feet. Inhale, come forward into a plank. Hold yourself steady here. Stretch your feet back, spread open your hands, press down. Put your knees on the ground if you need. Find the earth. A few shoulder rolls here. Just open up those shoulders as best as you can. And then we'll inhale to a cobra pose. Chest open and free. Exhale. Coming back down. Take your finger pads on the ground like two spiders on either side. Inhale. Rising up, turn head right. Exhale. Lowering back down. One more time. Shoulders back. Use your legs and core. Turn your head left as you lift. Exhale. Relax back down. Come up on tall fours. And let's wag our tail again and just move your spine. Any kind of movement that feels good. The most important thing you're doing here with your movement is breathing. Okay. Come back towards child's pose. We're going to stay in that pattern of movement. This is really good for moving fluid and lymph in your body. We're going to come up onto our shins, reaching the arms overhead. And then exhale, back to child's pose, arms at your sides. One more time. Inhale, rising up, arms opening up. Exhale, coming down, arms down at your sides. A little snug ball for a moment. Feel free to rock if you want to. Let's open up our shoulders just one more time here. While you're in child's pose, take your hands on the small of your back, backs of your hands on the small of your back, and let your elbows fall toward the ground. Just come into that internal rotation of the shoulders. Breathe into the back of your body. Okay, release the hands. Let's bring them forward into a regular child's pose. When you feel ready, inhale and lift your hips high, dog pose. Again, when you're here, pedal your feet. Let's feel our way into the movement. You can maybe knead your hands or knead your feet on the ground, opening it up on the bottom, the soles of the feet and the bottoms of your hands. All right, and then let's walk our feet forward, holding deep. Inhale for a halfway lift. Melt and fold again. Climb all the way up. Bringing the arms to the sky. And then trace down through the center of your body. And just notice how you feel. Just, we've touched into a lot of places now. We've kind of opened up and moved lots of joint spaces. So let's just take a moment to feel the difference of fluids moving in our body, of freedom in our joints and muscles coming. Let's try not to grasp onto our practice or onto our breath. Just let everything be fluid. And bring your arms down. We're just going to practice a little bit of balance up on our toes and back on our heels. Kind of waking up our calves one more time, kind of getting some of those balance muscles turned on. And it doesn't matter if you just kind of slightly come off the ground with your heels or if you come all the way up onto your tippy toes, whatever feels good for your body. All right. And then let's give our legs and our hands a nice little shake. And you can, shake however you want to shake. You can make some noise, you can bounce. Just getting some movement, some fluidity in your body. Wiggle around. And then find stillness, but let your breath have that same fluidity feeling. So big inhale. Full exhale. All right, we're going to take our legs wide on our mat. Let's do a couple standing poses to feel our sense of ground. Okay, legs nice and wide. Let's open up into a deep squat first. Elbows inside knees. And maybe track a little bit left and right through your weight in your feet. Elbows can kind of open up those inner groins a little bit more. And then while you're here, just pulse a few times. Drop your hips down, lift them up. Doesn't have to be a big movement, but just feel that sense of pulsing a little bit, staying grounded in your feet. And inhale and stand up big and tall, a standing star. And let's come into Pardha Konasana to the right. Turn your right toes out, find your breath, elbow on your knee, and stretch your arm overhead and feel this bigness now in the side of your body. So we're still, so much of our practice so far has been very fluid and moving. Now we come into a little bit of stillness. You feel the dynamic nature of movement on the inside. So what is your breath moving like? What do you have? Do you have that sense of being able to yield into the ground and reach into the air? On up. Reverse your triangle pose. So straight legs, reach that arm up, and let's find our way into triangle pose. We'll bring our hand onto our leg or onto a block, whatever feels good. So the chest is nice and open and free. Root into your feet as we come into these more static held postures. Notice the difference from when we were kind of opening and closing joints and being more fluid in our practice. Notice the shifting of the mind, the shifting of the breath and the body as we find a still posture. Come back up. Let's turn our feet the other way. Take a moment to adjust that here we are moving on this side. We're going to come into Parsva Konasana on this side. Bend your knee. Elbow can come on your knee. Stretch your arm overhead. And feel into the length of your body. Root into your feet. Relax your shoulders away from the ears. Breathing well. And again, find what it feels like to have the sense of roots, to have the sense of space. Let your body soften into stillness, or let your mind, I should say, soften into stillness. Are the palms of your hands free? You melt just a little bit through your fingers. Come up, reverse your triangle pose. Feel that extension and length. And then reach forward and come into triangle pose. Hand on the block or on your leg, stretching your other arm up in the air. Feeling that openness in your hamstrings and your rib cage, even in your spine, getting longer. Feel the roots, feel the rising. Feel the fullness of your breath. Come all the way back up. Come up to stand, straighten your legs for a moment. Let's do some fluid goddess poses. Inhale, arms up, so we're going to turn our toes out a little bit. Exhale, coming down. And inhaling, rising up. Exhaling. Down you go. Let's do one more. Inhale, stand up. Pause here. Let's find the stillness. Keep your torso upright, ground into your feet. Spread the bones of your feet. Open up the fingers. Try not to compress the hands together. Let there be softness and spaciousness. Feel the collarbones open, the heart open. And then inhale and stand up, standing star. All right, a little bit of fluidity here. So let this be however you want it to be. You can kind of roll over to your right and slide to your left. You can come up maybe, or maybe you want to kind of come down. Maybe you want to just slide from side to side. See what feels good. There's no rights or wrongs. Just try to be very stable in your joints. Move slowly, move quickly, whatever feels good to your body. And we'll all join back up in a standing star. Open body. And then turn your feet straight and come down to rest. You can put your head on a block if you want. You can put your hands on blocks. You can put your hands on the ground. Breathe into the inversion. So we'll be still now in an inversion here. Shoulders up away from the ears. Find the ground or the blocks with your hands. Find the ground with your feet. Feel the fullness of your breath. Turn back to the front of your mat. Find that more neutral place for your legs to live, coming into dog pose. Open up through your breath again. Root your hands and feet. Feel the fullness of your body. Let's come forward into a plank. Holding yourself steady. Put your knees down. Find the ground. Take the arms out in front of you like a V on the ground, palms on the ground. Lift up, stretch your legs. Open up through the front of your body. Exhale. And lower. Back down. Come onto your right side. We're just going to stretch our quad here. You can always put a block underneath your head if you want to. Bend your knees, grab onto the left ankle, and stretch it back. And if you want to do some fluidity, bring the knee to your chest, and then stretch the knee away. And then bring the knee to your chest, and stretch the knee away. Eventually, let's all just come into a static hold of opening our quads, stabilize your pelvis, breathing deeply. Let's find our way onto our back. Bring your knees to your chest. And we'll come to the other side. It's coming onto your left. Support underneath your head if you want to. Bending your knees. Let's grab onto the top of your right ankle. And again, you can keep this pose very static and just come into the quad stretch. Or if you want to have a little bit of movement, draw your knee to your chest and then pull your knee back. Maybe twice or 3 times. So you feel that stretch across your back, moving into your hip, and then come into the quad stretch. Tailbone toward your knee, pubic bone up toward your belly button. So we're stable in our pelvis. Try not to let your knee lift higher than your hip. Lengthen your whole femur bone and draw your whole femur bone back toward the wall behind you. Stay in the fluidity of your breath. And let's relax that. Come on to your back for a moment. Stretch your body like a star. One more time. Let's have a moment with our wrists and our fists opening and closing, and our feet opening and wiggling. And then draw your knees into your chest. Round your back a moment. And then roll to your side. Let's come onto all fours. Move your spine around. Okay. And take your right leg straight back behind you. Curl your toe under. Stretch your calf. Heel stretches back. And we're going to just do a little bit of movement here. So we're going to bring our right knee up, cross your right leg over your left, and stretch back, dropping your seat. Back up, knee to your chest, unwind that leg, toes down, stretch your calf. Twice more, draw that knee over top, like you're going into cow face pose. And then unwind the legs. And if you find this tricky, if you're like, oh, I can't get my leg over my other leg, then just come bring your knee forward and stretch back here. So you just get a little bit of a changed angle. And then 2 feet, 2 hands on the ground. I'm going to show you this from the side, just in case it's a little unclear. Then take the left foot straight back behind you. Okay, finding your breath. Maybe pulse a couple times if you want your calf to open. And then we're going to bring that left knee up toward our chest, cross it over the other leg, and stretch back like cow face legs. Back out. Stretch that foot back. Again, if you can't do this full action, no worries. You just find where you are. You can always just bring your knee forward and kind of, not like a pigeon pose, but just a hip flexor stretch. And then everybody come into child's pose and take your arms out in front of you. Finding your breath. Come up to dog pose when you're ready, feeling that extension in your body. Root hands and feet. Melt your skull. Return to that fluidity of your breath. And we'll walk our feet forward, come to Uttanasana. And then coming all the way up. We've been on the ground for a bit, so if you're a little dizzy, take your time. Finding a breath in, reaching the arms up. And then bring your hands to your heart one more time. Let your body get used to being upright. Feel the groundedness of your feet. Maybe a couple moments of coming onto your heels and toes again. We're going to find a balanced posture, eagle pose. So if you need to, stick your buttocks against a wall or a piece of furniture for balance support. We're going to stand on our right foot, cross the left leg over. The opposite arm is on top. So our right arm is on top, our left leg is on top. Okay, squeeze what you can. Squat down in, breathing well. Lift your chest, hug your legs, hug your arms. Full breaths under your armpits and into your side bodies. Let your peripheral vision gaze out over your arms. And then let's unwind this pose, a standing star. Open your fists, open and close. And then bring your feet back to neutral. Up onto your toes, back onto your heels, toes and heels. Again, if you need balance, put your buttocks against the wall. We're going to stand on our left leg, bring our right leg, cross it over. Our left arm is on top. If you can't do the arm position, just cross your hands onto your shoulders, drop down into the post, squat. Hug thighs, hug arms, lift chest, open collarbones. Let your peripheral vision gaze out. Big breaths. Full inhales, full exhales. Lots of grasping, right? We're squeeze, squeeze, squeeze here. And then unwind that and let that go. Open up to a big breath. And then exhale. And bring your body back to neutral territory. A full inhale. Full exhale. Next time your inhale comes, reach the arms up. And then exhale and fold forward. Halfway lift. Melt again. Step back to a dog pose. Feeling that extension and openness in the body. Full breaths here. Forward into a plank when you're ready. Find the ground. Any back bend that you want. Lift up in any way that feels good. Melt and relax. Move your blocks out of the way. Bring your left knee high up toward your armpit. Let your hip open a little bit. Turn this into a twist, crossing the right arm over to the left and twisting open. Let your knee leave the floor. Let your hand come to the floor. Turn your head. A full breath. And come back to center. Changing sides. Right leg up. Hang out there for a moment. Just let your hip open. And then cross the left arm over to the right side of your mat and twist open. Big breaths here. Fluid big breaths. Let your knee leave the ground. Turn your head. Let the hand touch the ground. Come back to your front, onto your belly. Okay. And we're going to move into a hip stretch here. So you can choose pigeon pose or reverse pigeon pose. I'm going to do a reverse pigeon pose today. Now, if you want to, whichever you're choosing, but sometimes if you're in reverse pigeon pose, it's nice to have your foot on a wall or on a piece of furniture so your upper body can stay very fluid and open. So I'm going to choose that pattern today. Maybe you're in pigeon pose. Make sure you have support underneath your hip and your thigh, or just your hip if you need it. Feel your spine grow. The pelvis stays square. Let your head rest wherever it is, back of the head on the ground or forehead on hands or a block. Again, finding a stillness, so no longer a mobile, like the fluid movements that we've been doing, but stillness. Let this help your mind come into stillness too. Open up the body out of this pose. If you're in pigeon pose, maybe you want to do a dog pose in between. If you're in reverse, maybe you want to stretch out like a star in between. So just see what feels good in your body and switch sides when you feel ready. As you come into the posture, take your time. So kind of find your way into a good balance in your pelvis, some length in your spine, a heaviness in your head. Feel your way into your breath. And again, as you're ready to transition out of the pose, take your time. And you can come to a star if you'd like. If you're on your back, you can come to a dog pose if you'd like. If you're in pigeon, however you want to transition. And then we're going to just let the last couple of minutes of our practice be a restorative one. So you have a choice here. I'm going to do heart bench, but maybe you want to do Supta Baddha Konasana or put your legs up the wall or something. So I'll cue heart bench just because that's what I'm doing. So if you want to do heart bench, you can have one block underneath your skull, a little higher than the one that's underneath your spine. And the one under your spine can be long ways of your spine, but if you're not very tall, you might want to have it crossways across your shoulder blades. And rest your body. Now you can be in this position with the blocks and take the soles of the feet together and let your knees fall out to the side so you're in Supta Baddha Konasana. You can have your feet on the ground, knees bent. You can have your legs straight on the ground. So whatever feels good. Maybe you're doing leg up the wall and you're against the wall. Maybe you're not against the wall and you just have a block under your pelvis. Maybe you're choosing a totally different pose, but whatever you're choosing, let your breath be what you're moving now. So as your body discovers some stillness, our breath is not being still. It's open and wide. Whatever you're doing, make sure that you feel restful. Maybe your head can rest a little bit more. Maybe there's some weight that you can give to your bones. Feel into the fluidity of your body. whenever you're ready to transition, and you don't have to be, you can stay here for all of Shavasana if you'd like. But when you're ready to transition out of the posture, take your time. You might want, knees to chest or a happy baby pose or a little twisting from one side for a moment and then the other. So find what your body needs. As Shavasana arrives, whenever you're ready for it, make sure that you're very comfortable. Do you need support in any way? Do you need warmth in any way? Do you need to turn lights out that are blaring in your eyes? Do you need to be in a traditional posture of on your back, or do you need to be on your side or in child's pose or legs up? So choose your path. Once you feel ready, let your body rest. Deepen your feel your body, find a little bit of movement in. Eventually finding your way to your side, taking your time. As we come to a comfortable seat, bring your palms together, but let your fingers be very free. So don't squeeze them together. Let there be some space in their togetherness. Let your breath come in fluidly and empty and leave just as easily. Soften your mind. Notice how you feel different than when you started your practice. And if there's any merit to your time spent on your mat, offer this energy outward. What you've gained, share. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.